What is going on in my life where I don't have a man?
Like, am I not as attractive as I thought I am? Am I looking old? Am I intimidating? Like, what is it?
Every day I go out looking adorable, tits bouncing, skin glistening, and yet nobody ever hits on me or approaches me. Ever.
So am I like the only woman that no longer gets approached by men?
What happened to masculinity? What happened to chivalry? What happened to men courting women? What happened to that?
It didn't happen overnight. The silence you see today, it started years ago. Piece by piece, decade by decade, the rules shifted. What used to be normal became risky. In some countries, undercover female officers literally jog through parks just to bait catcalls, leaving men wondering if every interaction is a setup.
These women aren't friends out for a run. They're actually undercover police officers taking to the streets in Surrey as part of a new operation.
So, how did we get here? Let's rewind the clock, and once you see the timeline, you will see men didn't vanish. They adapted. Not long ago, approaching a woman wasn't seen as bold or risky. It was simply how people met. If you liked someone at the bookstore, you started a conversation. If you saw someone in class, you passed a note or you asked for her number. At a bar, can I buy you a drink? Was expected, not suspicious. The risk was small. Maybe she said no. The reward was clear. Maybe she said yes. And the most important part, rejection stayed private. There were no viral videos, no screenshots, no labels like creep or ick waiting online. Approach was human. Approach was normal. Approach was safe. But as the years went on, that normality started to break down. Now, a man finishing a heavy set at the gym could glance around the room and end up being labeled a creep in an 8-second viral clip. Now, a polite hello in a coffee shop could be twisted into, oh, this is harassment. Even on TikTok. That's the climate we're in today, where a basic hello doesn't feel like a connection anymore. It feels like a risk.
So a couple of weeks ago, a guy approached me. Of course, I did what all girls do. Assumed he was a sexually charged pig, screams, "I have a boyfriend!" before he could even get a word out. Rolled my eyes, threatened to call the cops, and immediately relocated to a different spot in the coffee shop just so I could post a TikTok about it.
To understand why we reached this point, we have to rewind to the first crack in the system. The first crack came with technology. When dating apps on social media exploded, everything changed. Suddenly, you didn't need to risk a cold approach in real life. You could swipe, match, and filter from your couch. For women, this meant an endless stream of options. For men, it meant constant rejection before they even opened their mouths. And social media made it worse. Everyday women were scrolling highlight reels, perfect faces, six-pack abs, luxury lifestyles. And men noticed, why risk embarrassment in real life when I'll just be invisible compared to what's on her phone? So men stopped practicing in person. Confidence dropped. But abs weren't the only shift. Around the same time, a cultural wave was rising that made men think twice before even saying hello. While apps reshaped dating, culture reshaped how men approached women. On one side, women embraced independence. I don't need a man. Independence isn't the problem. It's a good thing. But many men heard that as, you're not wanted here anymore. At the same time, conversations about harassment were everywhere. Awareness was important. Predators existed. Boundaries mattered. But the shadow effect was that normal men hesitated. A polite compliment? Risky. A hello? Could be misread, even eye contact. Suddenly suspicious.
Call me whatever you want, but I've come to the realization that I'm just too big and black in America to be randomly approaching women in public. First of all, y'all don't even really want to be bothered for real. And I get that because I'm the same way. I just be minding my business. Besides, with how women talk about how much they fear for their safety around men, I ain't really trying to scare nobody. So basically at this point, if she doesn't make it painfully obvious that she wants me to talk to her, it doesn't really matter what the attraction level is. I'll respectfully keep it pushing and let God take the wheel.
Then came the Me Too era. necessary for exposing real abuse, but chilling for ordinary men. Now they were asking themselves, what if my hello was taken the wrong way? What if this cost me my job or my reputation? Approaching wasn't just about rejection anymore. It was about risk. And just when the social climate was already tense, then came 2020, the Great Pause. For months, people stayed home. Daily social reps, eye contacts, small talks, casual conversation disappeared overnight. Men especially got used to staying in their lanes. Wake up, work online, scroll, game sleep, repeat. When the world reopened, women were ready to step out again. But men? Many didn't bounce back. Approaching now felt unnatural. The rhythm was gone. The anxiety was higher. And during lockdown, a lot of men realized something. Peace feels better than drama. They poured energy into safer spaces. Work, fitness, gaming, friends, places where they weren't being judged or shamed. So when it came down to approach again, many men thought, why gamble on chaos when I already have peace right here? If the pandemic made men rusty, the viral era made them paranoid. Suddenly, every glance, every hello, every smile had an audience. In gyms, it was worst of all. A man finishes a heavy set, eyes glaze over, he zones out, and in the wrong clip, he's labeled a gym creep. Context doesn't matter. Intent doesn't matter. The internet doesn't wait for explanations. It judges, mocks, and it shares. And when millions of strangers can brand you a predator off an 8-second clip, what do smart men do? They adapt. Headphones in, eyes down, no small talk. Straight out the door. The same paranoia bled into coffee shops, sidewalks, even campuses. Men learned silence is safer than risks. But a viral shame wasn't enough. Something else made it worse. Official stings that turned even clumsy interest into crimes. In the UK, police sent undercover female officers jogging to bait catcalls. If men reacted, even a whistle or a glance, they were stopped or even arrested.
These women aren't friends out for a run. They're actually undercover police officers taking to the streets in Surrey as part of a new operation trying to stop people catcalling and harassing female runners.
We get honked at, the staring, the hanging out of the window just to look at us, and it's so prevalent.
And police teams are ready to intervene the moment the officers are beeped at, followed, or shouted at, pulling people over.
Those kind of behaviours may not be criminal offences in themselves, but they still need to be addressed. And of course, the people that are likely to commit those kind of behaviours, they may then go on to commit more serious offences or more serious behaviours.
Think about the message that sends. Men already worry about being misread. Now they think, what if she's not just jogging? What if this is a setup? That's the climate now, where awkward compliments and real harassment are blurred together. And when the rules are that vague, men default to the safest move. Better not. But the silence didn't stop at dating. It spread to everyday life. Now the internet is full of women asking, why won't men look at me? Why won't they come over? That's the double bind of look up, you're creepy. Look down, you're cold. Say hello, you're crossing a line. Say nothing, you're weak. Clips show men deliberately looking at their phones instead of risking eye contact, and somehow they still get mocked for that too. This isn't fear, it's adaptation. If the rules change every day, silence becomes the only safe move. And when men go quiet in dating, it bleeds into everything else. Even moments where women expect help. The silence is bigger than dating. It's everyday life. Holding doors, offering help, stepping in when something looks off. Those used to be automatic. Today, the same gestures are often framed as insulting. I don't need a man to carry this. I can open my own doors. So men adjusted. They stepped back. Then another wave of video appears. Women angry that men didn't jump in to help after an accident or to haul something heavy. 20 years ago, guys would have rushed in. Today, men hesitate, not out of cruelty, but because they've been told too often, we don't need you. This is the cost of mixed messages. When helping is punished one day and expected the next, the safest choice is to don't intervene. And while men step back, they also start doing the math. Risk versus reward. Chaos versus peace. Here's the bottom line. Men aren't silent because they lost interest. They're silent because they ran the numbers. Risk today looks like this. Being filmed and posted online as creepy. Getting mocked in group chats. Facing HR fallout at work. Even being caught in sting operations. Reward today looks like this. Maybe a number, maybe a date, maybe respect. I mean, if everything goes perfectly, that is. Risk feels guaranteed. Reward feels random. And when the numbers don't add up, smart men choose the one outcome they can control: peace. But this silence isn't going unnoticed. Women are starting to actually feel it. And the drought is hitting real hard than anyone expected. Now we're here, where the silence is impossible to ignore. Women post videos saying, I dressed up, I smiled, nothing. We made eye contact and he never came over. Nobody flirts anymore. Clubs are quieter, bars feel dry, gyms are just workout, not social spaces. And here's the irony. Not that long ago, the same women brushed off attention as annoying. Now that it's gone, they miss it. Because even if a woman isn't interested, being noticed matters. It's validation. It's energy. It's proof that she's still visible. And when that spotlight disappears, the silence feels heavy. But here's the truth. Men aren't gone. They're redirecting their energy. After decades of shifts, men have recalculated. They're not chasing women anymore. They're chasing peace. Not power, not games, just calm. Instead of risking humiliation for a maybe, men pour into what pays back with certainty. Careers, health, hobbies, friendship, because those things respect their efforts. And once men tasted that peace, it became hard to let it go. Before smartphones, hello was normal. Swipe era, apps replaced practice, trust shrank. Cultural shifts, good men hesitated. 2020 reset, social skills vanished. Men discovered peace. Viral shame, cameras everywhere. Silence became safest. Trap effect, police stings blurred lines. Mixed messages. Don't approach flipped into why doesn't anyone approach? New math, risk certain, reward random. Outcome, peace greater than pursuit. So the only question left is, what happens next? To women, if you want approaches back, clarity matters. Green lights, respectful rejections, and consistency. Stop punishing the behavior you secretly want. To men, protect your peace. But if you do approach, do it on your terms. Clear signals, safe context, dignity intact. Because connection isn't dead. It's just buried under noise. Until then, men will keep doing what the timeline taught them that makes the most sense. Choosing peace over pursuit. So you guys already know what to do. Drop a comment. I want to hear your thoughts. What are you thinking? And like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.